In Search of Soil.
Local efficacy of microbes. So you get a microbe out of Ohio, and I want to use it here in California, or I want to use it in Florida, or I want to use it in Maine. Is it going to work the same in all conditions, or are they that specific where an Ohio microbe out of that field is going to work best in that field in Ohio?
There is some regionality, and it really comes back to, I think, understanding that not every microbe is meant to be a silver bullet where it works everywhere all the time. Some that are coming out of conditions that say are cooler, wetter, will probably do better going into conditions that are cooler and wetter, and vice versa. Strains that are isolated out of places that are more arid, maybe have less uh, drier conditions, probably do better in those types of conditions. So there is some dependency there, but microbes, they can work across. So I think trying at least at a regional level to make sure that they work across some different climates is important. And also the function that they give. You really, every microbe it's not going to solve all of the problems in the field, but in targeted ways they can help. Say, for instance, help with nutrient availability or help the plant through certain abiotic stress. You have to kind of understand where you're applying it and why, and know that it's not going to be something that's going to solve, all of the problems in your field, but it could help under certain conditions to improve your yield in certain areas under certain conditions.
That's a good point that you brought up there, because I think some people expect, a dramatic transformation, like this weak, staggering plant. You apply it, and boom, you have a redwood growing all of a sudden there. When it comes to realistic expectations, what should someone think about if they're considering applying a beneficial growth microbe?
Yeah, so certainly under more controlled environments, you can set up experiments where you can see kind of a half dead plant and one that had microbes applied to it, is growing quite well. But out in a field under conditions, varying conditions, you may not see that same kind of direct response. But for one of the things that we see with a microbe we've been using that was discovered at Ohio State, it works really well under conditions where, if you want to go out and plant earlier, it's helping that plant through kind of that early abiotic stress when it's cooler and wetter. So in that environment, this microbe really works well, and you can see some of that immediate early season kind of vigor when the bacteria are used versus when they're not. So there's a case where certain conditions, this microbe can help the plant through that kind of stress, and you can see it in the early vigor. Will that translate to a huge increase in yield at the end of the season? Depends on the season, but you can at least say I saw an early vigor response. It helped the plant through some of that early stress. And so you have to think about, understand how these products work, that they can help under certain conditions, but not expect that they're going to give you, a 50% bump up in yield. It doesn't quite work out that way, but using them can help in general. It's kind of, we like to think of it kind of as a insurance policy, that if the conditions are more detrimental, whether that's, some early season flooding or some conditions that were harder to get the stand up, they can help the plant through those conditions. So it's kind of like a de-risking, if you will.
Sure.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out some of the great clips and watch the full interviews right here on In Search of Soil.